Hello, good afternoon. This is another article in our rejuvenation series. Um, it reads that 400-year-old Greenland shark is the longest living vertebrate. Now, it says Greenland sharks are the longest living vertebrates known on Earth. That's what scientists says. Researchers used radiocarbon dating to determine the ages of 28 of the animals and estimated that one female was about 400 years old. The team found that the shark grew at just 1 centimeter a year and reached sexual maturity at the age of 150. The research is published in the journal Science. Lead author Julius Nielsen, a marine biologist from the University of Copenhagen, said, "We had our expectation that we were dealing with an unusual animal, but I think everyone doing this research was very surprised to learn the sharks were as old as they were." The former vertebrate record holder was a bowed whale, estimated to be 211 years old. But if invertebrates are brought into a longevity competition, a 507-year-old clam called Ming holds the title of the most aged animal. Slow swimmers. Greenland sharks are huge beasts that can grow up to 5 meter in length. They can be found swimming slowly through the cold, deep waters of the North Atlantic. With its leisurely pace of life and sluggish growth rate, the sharks were thought to live for a long time. But until now, determining any ages was difficult. For some fish, scientists are able to examine ear bones called otoliths, which when sectioned show a pattern of concentric rings that scientists can count as they would rings in a tree. Sharks are harder, but some species, such as the great white, have calcified tissues that grows in layers on their backbones that can also be used to age animals. But the Greenland shark is a very soft shark. It has no hard body parts where growth layers are deposited, so it was believed that age could not be investigated, Mr. Nielsen told the BBC. However, the team found a clever way of working out the age. The Greenland shark eye lens is composed of specialized materials, and it contains proteins that are metabolically inert, explained Mr. Nielsen. Which means after the proteins have been synthesized in the body, they are not renewed anymore. So we can isolate the tissues that formed when the shark was a pup and do radiocarbon dating. The team looked at 28 sharks, most of which have died after being caught in fishing nets as bycatch. Using these techniques, they established that the largest shark, a 5-meter-long female, was extremely ancient. Because radiocarbon dating does not produce exact dates, they believe that she could have been as young as 272 or as old as 512 years old. But she was most likely somewhere in the middle, so about 400 years old. It means she was born between the years of 1501 and 1744. But her most likely date of birth was in the 17th century. Even with the lowest part of its uncertainty, 272 years, even if that is the maximum age, it should still be considered the longest living vertebrate, said Mr. Nielsen. Conversely, if her age is at the upper end of the scale, she will have outlived Ming the clam, although her age has a greater probability of lying in the middle. Conservation lessons. The team believe that animals only reach sexual maturity when they are 4 meters long, and with this new very lengthy age range, it suggests this does not occur until animals are about 150 years old. The researchers say this has consequences for future conservation of animals. Because of their extremely longevity, Greenland sharks may still be recovering from being overfished before World War II. The shark's liver were once used for machine oil, and they were killed in great numbers before a synthetic alternative was found and the demand fell. When you evaluate the size distribution all over the North Atlantic, it is quite rare that you see sexually mature females, and quite rare that you find newborn pups or juveniles, Mr. Nielsen explained. You see, most are sub-adults. That makes sense. If you have had this very high fishing pressure of old animals, they are not there anymore, and they are not that many to give birth to new ones. There is though still a very large amount of teenagers, but it will take another 100 years for them to become sexually active. Another author of the study, Professor Christopher Ramsey, director of Oxford Radiocarbon Accelerator Unit at the University of Oxford, says the radiocarbon dating could be used to determine ages of other animals, but was not likely to be chosen as a primary method. For many animals, we have other methods to determine age, he said. Also, the radiocarbon method is not very precise, and so is only really relevant for very long-lived species. He added that the statistical method used to determine shark ages were Bayesian statistics. Bayesian statistics were first worked out by Reverend Bayes in the 18th century. This means he will have been working on this when some of his oldest sharks were young. Yes, so this is a story of a long-lived shark between 400 years and 512 years old. So I think for the future, this quest for longevity, rejuvenation, to restart the process, to continue the process, it's not very far-fetched in humans, and I think it bodes well for the future, and I think that this article I'm gonna provide you the link for you to read it if you want to read it by yourself. But I think it's good news to see that even on Earth right now, you got animals that are living for like 400 years old. Thank you.